I feel like I should have a substitute presenter for this specific episode on the sex incentive because that's exactly what we're talking about substitutions today on the University of Smooth. Welcome back, gentlemen. We've been running along with this series that we call the sex incentive. This is the next installment. In the previous iterations on the sex incentive, we discussed how it's your main motivating factor in life is access to women. And on top of that, that most of your big life decisions are based on whether you will get access to women. You are rational for deciding to go a specific career route or a particular major decision in your life. It is fundamentally sane for you to premise that decision on whether it will get you more access to women, however you define that. But on a day to day basis, it may not work out. And this sort of is cross context. You could be married and still be sexually frustrated because you do not have access to sex on the terms that you wanted it. You could be single and be having a lot of access to sex, or you could be single and struggling to attract any woman into your life. As you know, on a day to day basis, the male sex drive does not just shut off if it's not satisfied. In fact, one of the fundamental key aspects of the sex drive is specifically that it doesn't shut off. If you could simply shut off your sex drive, then we wouldn't have civilization because at a certain point, enough men would be like, I can't really make this thing happen, so I'm giving up entirely. Yeah, you don't have it hitting you every second of every day, but dude, that urge is coming. And it may subside like by the time you're 120 years old, may subside for some of us, maybe a little earlier than 120, but it is going to be around for a long time in your life. And when it hits, dude, you're going to need to scratch that itch. Whether you have access to something to really scratch it or not, you're still going to have that itch. So, what happens in these situations? This is where substitution comes in. When you don't have access to sexual opportunity, you substitute. I call this simulation sedation. It's a fluid spectrum, something like porn, the girlfriend experience, pay pigging, even the friend zone. Those are all forms of substitution. They are some simulated access to women that fall short of what you really want, but you'll take it instead. Sedation includes overindulgence in any of those things, especially something like porn, but then also drugs, alcohol, and something like video games. There's like this strange irony with video games. It's the number one, like, hey, you should be doing more with your life than sitting around and playing video games. Granted, if you're spending way, way too much time, 7, 8 hours a day playing video games, perhaps that's an issue. I would impress upon you, though, that if you are spending a shitload of time following sports, following culture, politics, the news, or even like massively overindulging in classical literature, all of those can be sedations. Every one of those is a sedation if you are using it to distract yourself from the reality of your sex drive. This is a paradox of the male experience. Two things are true, though they may be at odds. First, if you are reaching for substitution, any form of distraction, whether it's porn or Shakespeare or sports, it is sane for you to want relief from the insistence of the male sex drive. It's going to be temporary relief, but it makes sense for you in your situation to satisfy that urge in some other way or to distract yourself from that urge. That is not a maladapted response to not being able to satisfy this impulse. It is sane to do that. Having said that, if you are overindulging in these substitutions, which is to say, at the expense of our roadmap, then you are also engaging in unattractive behavior. It's at least mildly attractive insofar as it keeps you sane. Having these things in your life that help you dispel this pent up energy that will keep you sane. Beyond that, overindulgence, unfortunately, is unattractive. Women do not find you more attractive because you have a massive, massive porn addiction. Women don't find you more attractive because you are obsessed with sports or even obsessed with quantum physics or any of these other distractions in your life. So, where does that leave you? We have a roadmap: get jacked, learn game, convert your talent to clout. We advise you as a best practice to pursue it. Pursue as much of it as you possibly have time for and energy for on a day to day basis in your life. If you have done that, if you have gotten to the gym on a regular routine basis, if you've done what you can to improve your interpersonal skills with men and women, and if you've done what you can to convert your talent in some way that will help you acquire more status and more influence in your own life, then you have done right by your sex drive. But you may fall short. We are not the channel that says if you do all of these things, then sexual opportunity will just come your way. That's not part of the fundamental message of the University of Smooth. We know that inequality of opportunity is a real thing, and you do not just solve it by doing everything you can within your life. Having said that, this roadmap is how you maximize your personal opportunity. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and if you get to the end of the day and you didn't really get to that level that you needed to create that sexual opportunity, dude, that substitution is going to come calling. It's not me telling you that you should go for that substitution. It's your biology telling you that you must. That's how powerful the sex drive is. Take care.